So remember, in the last video, we were talking about how the theory is actually connecting to the experiment. And we talked about how it's connecting. The thing that I left off a little bit was theta. So your theta here is your launch angle. And we just need to know our initial velocities here. And we're going to calculate our time of flight. And we're going to calculate our time of flight from the y equation. And we can predict the range of this object. So let's go ahead and go to our experiment. And let's go ahead and start to collect data. So I'm not going to go right there. I'm just going to minimize this. Maybe I need to make it bigger so I can actually see what I'm tapping. So I want to start here. So I'm going to frame forward. So notice where I'm located on the video. I'm not on this portion where I'm concerned about the angle. I'm measuring the angle. I'm calibrating the experiment, making sure that I'm in the right place. So I'm right here, okay? So we're about to track the ball from this location. So I'm just gonna tap one time there, and let me go in. I'm gonna track this ball. Of course, I don't have to be in there like this. But you see, it's difficult for me to see where this ball is landing. So this time I'm gonna have to guess. Now, we wanna minimize that guessing, but right now we just have to do what we have to do. So that's my first bounce. And we expect the ball to launch from the same position each time. So I'm just gonna go here. And even though it doesn't seem like you need to select on this, you do. Each time you have an initial position and a final position. Remember our algebra. Remember how we're thinking about things mathematically. It's directly connected. Math is not wooey-pooey. It's taking English and making English very formal, very specific. I could say English, it could be language, it could be Spanish, it could be Chinese, it could be anything, but it's making it very, very specific. So when I have that X final and that X initial, it means something, okay? So let's just go ahead and go forward here. So again, you don't see where that ball is actually landing. So I'm just gonna track down here. And my hope is that it's landing right there. But all we can do is guess. But again, this is the nature of measurement. At some point, your precision will fall off. You can only be so precise. So let me just go back. And it's evident there, but it's not so evident when, I'll show you when it's not so evident. So let me go ahead and select another point right here. And let's check to see if we're doing this right. You see this little graph at the top here? I'm just gonna select on that graph. When I select on that graph, you'll see these lines here. Let me slide over to the left. Ooh, something is wrong. Look, I have a point here, and then I have a point at the end, and then I have another point at the end. It's almost like I didn't select another 0 point. This is incorrect. I will delete the last 2 points. Hopefully I can delete the last point. And I need to delete the last point. So let me go back here. Oh man, how can I do that? So I'm gonna frame back. Let me see if I can actually accomplish that. I have to be able to delete that point. Oh my gosh, let me see if we're getting this. All right, so this last point here is the very last point that I put on the farthest end. So I'll go down here, and if I keep framing back, you'll see which point that is. That's this point right here. So I'll just touch on it and then delete. So if we go back to our graph, you'll see that I have 1 point at 0. That's my initial X. And I have 1 point somewhere out here. It looks like it's about 80 centimeters out. That's our X final. Now we need to go back down to our initial X, which is defined at 0. We defined it that way. So if we go back down here, you'll see that this point is our X initial. So let me make sure that I'm doing that right. So so let me frame forward. This is where the ball was located. So remember I put the point here, so I need to back up. Of course, this is kind of like just walking through the motion. And then I need to place a point here. Let's go forward. All right, so again, I need to track down and see. And again, I'm kind of guessing based on this point that's here and where I think that ball is going to land. It might land back in here somewhere, but let's just continue forward.